In 2010, the Pella Amateur Radio Club started the PENS program, that stands for Pella Exploring Near Space, by which we fly student experiments into near space with a latex balloon, and then we track and retrieve these experiments for data processing. In 2017, we expanded this program to PENS-P, in which the P stands for PICO. This is in reference to PICO satellite, or a tiny satellite, by which we take a small device called a sky tracker, tie it onto a balloon, fly it up to 40,000 feet where it becomes buoyant, and then we let the balloon ride the wind as far as it can go. The sky tracker contains a GPS receiver, an amateur radio transmitter, a computer, and is powered by solar panels, which enables the students to track the PICO satellite on their computers or smartphones wherever it goes. Normally, we go into the classroom and expose students to earth science, where we talk about the troposphere, stratosphere, global position technology, amateur radio technology, and high-altitude ballooning. We would then fill a balloon with helium, attach the sky tracker, and go outside and fly the balloon. Then we go back inside and show the students how they can follow the sky tracker wherever it goes on their computers and smartphones. During the time of COVID-19, we go into the classroom via video conferencing, where we are able to sit at home and present live to the classroom our PENS program. We can see the students can see us, and everyone is safe. The students are given opportunities every 5 to 8 minutes to ask questions. We have made a video of filling the balloon so the students can see the precision that is necessary to do this. And then we bring a pre-filled balloon to the school and meet the students outside so they can launch the balloon and watch it fly out of sight. Believe it or not, in order to fulfill our goal of circumventing the Earth with our sky tracker, filling the balloon requires extreme precision. In order to do this, it requires a room with absolutely no air currents. The necessary equipment will include a precision gram scale, a helium tank with filler valve, an impulse sealer, a 50-gram weight, and our sky tracker. The first thing we need to do is to weigh our components. We want an accurate gram weight of the sky tracker, an accurate gram weight of the 50-gram weight, and it's not necessary for the flight, but we also want to know a precise gram weight of our balloon. Now it's time to start filling the balloon. We have calculated that we want exactly 7 grams of lift in order to achieve a float altitude between 40,000 and 43,000 feet. We have found that the most accurate way to put 7 grams of lift into a balloon is to measure negative weight. This is performed by taking the weight of the sky tracker, add 7 grams to that weight, subtract that from the weight of the 50-gram weight, attach the balloon to the 50-gram weight, set the 50-gram weight on the gram scale, and fill the balloon until it reads the calculated weight. For example, this sky tracker weighs 12.51 grams. The 50-gram weight weighs exactly 50.25 grams. 12.51 grams plus 7 grams equals 19.51 grams. 50.25 grams minus 19.51 grams equals 30.74 grams. That means that we fill the balloon with helium until the gram scale reads 30.74 grams. Then we can seal the balloon, and this is done with an impulse sealer. The balloon is made from space-age plastic, and the impulse sealer will seal the valve by melting a seam across the valve to seal it shut. We're going to melt 3 seams on the valve, and this should ensure that absolutely no helium will leak out during its high-pressure flight. The final step is to tie the sky tracker onto the balloon so that it cannot come off. When the sky tracker is secured, the balloon envelope is very carefully folded in half and placed into a truck for transport to the launch site.
Cooper, all the way up. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fifth graders, are you ready?
Yeah!
Let's go. Let's count down from 10, okay?
T-minus 10.
10,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Big snow balloon! Eric.
Following the flight, the students can go into the classroom where they can get on their computers or smartphones and track the sky tracker wherever it goes. If the students click on the balloon, a label comes up that gives real-time information about the balloon's speed, altitude, direction of travel, temperature, voltage from the solar panels, and how many GPS satellites it is receiving.
Well, Bill, I know there's several other balloons flying right now. Anything exciting going on out there?
Well, we had 3 go around the world almost in formation. They went across the central U.S., one right after another, and they ended up out over the Atlantic within 20 or 30 miles of each other, and that was kind of exciting. And so there's several that we have one that was launched from a school in Pella, Iowa, WB0URW-8, and it's currently just off the coast of France, and it is on its second lap around the world. And so the students are very, very thrilled about that journey. In fact, the really neat thing about that one is that after it went around the world in just 12 days, which is pretty fast, it actually came within 70 miles of their school went back to Iowa after going completely around the world, and just went 70 miles north of them. So they were really thrilled that not only did it go around the world, but it came back to Iowa and almost to their hometown again. So that was just the remarkable thing about the patterns of the jet stream. Sometimes you get the fast express ride around the world, and sometimes you get stuck in Southeast Asia.
Well, you said they've been going for they went around in 12 days. What altitude are they flying?
45,000 feet.
Okay. Yeah, well, we are too, but we've been up 17 days and we can't seem to get out of Asia. So we'll see how that goes.
But they were very lucky as they hit they were going well over 100 miles an hour during a good portion of their flight. They were right in the thick of a great jet stream.
Well, and I guess they launched it a little bit further north too than we did. That might have helped.
That helped a lot. But as we get closer into the winter, that jet stream tends to dip down farther south so that we can get into that too. But the northern tier states do have a little bit of an advantage, earlier in the season.
Amateur Radio Newsline Report number 2248 with a release date of Friday, November 27th, 2020. Youngsters in Iowa got a lesson in world travel and amateur radio recently, thanks to an adventurous balloon they launched as a science project. Ralph Squilacci, KK6ITB, has that story.
A group of science students in Pella, Iowa, feel like they've been around the world, and in a way, they have. It took 13 days, 2 hours, and 8 minutes for the 150 fifth graders from the Jefferson Intermediate School to complete the journey on November 18th that involved crossings over the Atlantic Ocean, the Mediterranean Sea, the Yellow Sea, and the Pacific Ocean. The students stayed home, of course, but their hearts and minds traveled with a helium-filled scientific balloon they'd launched with support from the Pella Amateur Radio Club. It was launched carrying a sky tracker with APRS that had been designed and built by Bill Brown, WB8ELK. The near-space balloon transmitted on 2 meters as it carried the call sign WB0URW-8 around the world as the students kept tabs on it on their computers and smartphones. Jim Emmert, WB0URW, said that with financing from local foundations, the Pella Club has been working with students at the school for a while now, presenting various lessons in the fields of earth science and amateur radio technology. The balloon, the latest such venture, was a success. Not one to rest on its helium-filled laurels, the balloon returned home, according to Jim, only to embark on its second such journey. For Amateur Radio Newsline, I'm Ralph Squilacci, KK6ITB.
ICQ Podcast Episode 339, Tiny Spectrum Analyzer. Any good? Well, hello friends of amateur radio. Welcome to this, our 339th episode of the ICQ Amateur Radio Podcast. Right, now we're going to head over to join Martin, Leslie, Dan and Edmund as they discuss and generate thoughts about the latest amateur radio news, including APRS balloon spans the world and a good sunspot news for HF.
The Pella Amateur Radio Club APRS balloon has just spanned the globe. Now, I think this is a nice story. If you release a balloon and it goes all around the world and you can track it, what a bit of fun. I'd love to be involved with one of these. And Leslie, it wasn't a plastic bag like you suggested. Over to you.
I was just looking at the picture on the website. You've got all these youngsters watching this thing go up in the air, and it does look like a plastic bag to me. But yeah, I'm looking at the country that it's gone through. Well, it's Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia. I'm not going to go through all of them. Israel, Syria, Afghanistan, India, China, Yellow Sea, South Korea, Japan. Like I said, there's some of those I've just missed off the list, but wow, as an experiment, it's great.
Yeah, sounds like the sort of thing that maybe a few more of us should have a go at. But I know there's a lot of balloons, but we must be getting a lot of information back scientifically from these, so that's good news. Dan, what's your thoughts?
Well, what I like about this is something that I always talk about when I talk about ham radio, is it's more than just about electronics and radio. It's about geography in the world. And I would imagine, anyway, that these kids have learned an awful lot about all these different countries as a result of this balloon flight.
I would agree with you totally. Our hobby, as I say, is massive and spin-offs into all sorts of areas. And I'll be honest with you, I wasn't that interested in geography when I was at school, but I've learned quite a bit about geography in other parts of the world just purely being in this hobby. So, yeah, I agree with you, Dan. Edmund, what's your thoughts on the old balloon going around the world?
It's certainly a good way to interest youngsters in geography. When I reached year 9 at school, I had a straight choice between studying history or geography. I couldn't do both, even if I'd wanted to, so I ended up choosing history. Had I known at the time that I was going to turn into a radio amateur some years later, I would have chosen the geography route. And if I'd actually been an amateur radio person at the time, I would have chosen geography as well. So this is a really fantastic achievement, and there is a video on the school's website that's well worth a watch. It's only about 10 minutes long, and Leslie is absolutely spot on. The balloon does indeed look like one of those transparent plastic bags that used to get given away for free in certain supermarkets in the UK. And the even more impressive thing is that they've tracked it using APRS. If you go to the link to the APRS website, you can see exactly where it went, or you can see part of where it went, because the downlink, I assume from the transmitter, would be on 144.39, which is the APRS frequency in the US and many other parts of the world. But in Europe and other places as well, perhaps it's on 144.800. So I'm guessing this thing probably floated over top of Europe at some stage, if it's gone all the way around the world, but that doesn't show up on the APRS map, because all the iGates, Digipeters, etc. that may have heard it were listening on the wrong quote-unquote frequency, which is a bit of a shame. If that was a worldwide frequency, 144.39, then we might have got a nice track on the APRS website showing literally a line going all the way around the world, whereas if you look on the website there's actually quite large swathes missing from the plot, but they do say that it's gone all the way around the world, so that's rather impressive, isn't it, Martin? Back to you.
It certainly is, and while you were saying, I was just thinking maybe us amateurs, maybe if we got a spare receiver and ability to connect it to the internet, maybe it might just be worth receiving the US APRS frequency, because you don't have to transmit it. If you received it and pushed it back to their logging system, they would be seen and tracked throughout Europe as well. So that's another thing.
Yeah, indeed, because the only other thing that you're likely to hear on that frequency in Europe is microwave talkback. That used to be on 144.175 in the UK, but then FT8 happened very close by on the dial, so they shifted up the other end, and I've never done microwaves or needed to do talkback, but I'm pretty sure that these days in the UK and possibly France and other places as well, they use 144.39 for that. But realistically, how often are you ever going to receive microwave talkback on 2 meters in any given location? So yes, absolutely. If we know that there are balloons up there that might be coming over in Europe, then it may well be worth diverting your APRS receive away from the usual frequency and listening on 144.39.
Yeah, I'll give you that. So all in all, congratulations to the boys. That was a great thing, and it's still up there, I believe, so it's got further to go.
Over the past years, teachers and administrators have proclaimed the positive impact that this project has had on hundreds of our students' lives. This project was made possible by the Pella Community Foundation and the Marion County Community Foundation, and we want to thank them for their financial support for helping to make this project a reality for our children. Thank you.